Hello, hello. For some reason, oh, hold on. The chat does not show above the wallpaper anymore. I didn't change anything. Hi, Milo. Hi, Lee. How's it going? Okay. Test. Oh, there we go. Yeah, for the chat window was below the wallpaper, I guess. Hi, Lee. Well, every Sunday I'm going to be doing these, as we know, hopefully. There may be not very much to update. There may be a lot to update. We'll be talking about what we're working on, what we've got done in the week, and what's coming up in the future, what you'd like to bring up, questions, facts, all that stuff. And it's also just a hangout. Fun and friends, as said in the caption there. Not too many friends on today, as it seems. We've got Milo, Maya, we've got Devin, Alice. So quality over quantity today. It's all right. So we're just about 1.5 days away from the Halloween patch update here. And we can quickly go over the patch notes. We have continued to... Hold on a second. Yeah, we have continued to add quality of life features, fix bugs to the Halloween patch. As usual, we're going to be doing small to large quality of life updates in every update, rather than... And eventually there will be one big UI thing, but until then, we're making incremental improvements. And are we going to solo the map? I don't know. I just kind of deployed my... I didn't even think about deploying my army properly for this. There we go. You can see my entire bald cue ball head. I see Chaos Tails. Hi. Welcome. So let's go over the patch notes here. There might be some repeats from last week, but I just want to cover everything just in case we've added something that we haven't talked about yet. Let's see here. How about I do this? I'm going to retreat. I'll restart the mission. And let's actually deploy. I beefed up the HP and weapon power on this chapter, like, majorly. You should see how crazy the stats are on these guys. I don't think it'll make much of a difference, but we'll see. Alright. And I only have 10 squads, but they're all very strong. It's all good. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's just do this. We'll go between between patch notes and gameplay, kind of off and on here. How's everyone's weekend going? Anything fun to report? Anything not so fun to report? We're all friends here. We went to a birthday party for my kid yesterday. Not for my kid, but for somebody else in her daycare. So we're trying to like network a little bit with the other parents and actually have some sort of little virtual village that we can help each other out as, you know, kind of a group of parents. You had a birthday. Your birthday? Happy birthday, Maya. How was it? How was your day? Let's see. Yeah. Milo says, watch out to network too much. You're going to have to go to 20 birthday parties a year. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. So true. You know, I don't have to go to all of them. I can just... My kid's old enough now. I can just either have one parent go or 0 parents go. Just drop off and pick up later. You know? My kid's perfectly able to do that at this point. Maya says, brain goblins seem determined to ruin the day itself, but I have issues around my birthday for whatever reason. Birthdays can be very sensitive. Bad experiences, high expectations. You know, I think a lot of us that have good childhoods, or at least average childhoods, you know, our parents go above and beyond to make sure that our birthdays are a special time. And then I was actually thinking about this yesterday with my kids. Like, you know, we're going to have to teach her how to manufacture these or create these or usher these moments without us eventually. You know, she's still a little kid, so we're going to provide that for a while, but you know, eventually parents get tired. They're not going to do that anymore, and you're old enough to do it yourself. But you know, sometimes people go without that special experience ever again. It's kind of sad. So that's happened to me before. Okay. Well, he's got a lot of threat. He's got 265,000 threat. I wonder if that's because I pumped his HP up. We'll see. You're 7 years old. That's enough special birthdays for you, kid. Yeah. The old boomer trope. Like, the moment you turn 18, just get out of my house. Good luck, kid. What? All right. Let's look at these stats. Man, this gunner has almost 400 HP. This Zweihander 520. I wonder if I can find an Earth Heavy. Probably has 600-ish HP. Earth, yeah, this is an Earth Heavy 564. 121 weapon power on this guy. Jeez, man. Look at how much armor and weapon he has. That is a powerful unit. These archers, let's see, 82 weapon power. Maya Magic says 7. Why not just 5? Get 5. Why just give them a Ferrari if you're gonna spoil them that much? Lol. I love that this feels like, oh, you think this chapter's too easy? You sure? Yeah, I don't want to keep doing that where it's like, you know, or I keep like playing chicken with people who say the game is too easy, because we actually have no way to verify unless we directly ask people. Like when they keep saying it's too easy, it's like, how long have you had that save around? You know, because we've continued to adjust things to be a little harder each update, and either in economy or resources or in growth or whatever. You know, so you could theoretically just hold on to an old save that's way overpowered forever until we release the DLC update, which won't allow, like it won't. It'll kind of break saves a little bit. You know, like the best experience for the DLC will definitely be a fresh playthrough. So. I beat it recently, and it was a victory lap for sure, but I don't mind that as much. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world if the final chapter is hard, or not too hard. You know, the hardest chapters are, you know, 9, 12, I think 9 and 12, and I would say 24, 26 are the hardest chapters. Hey, Chill, nice to see you here. All right. You know, 27 is hard in a different way. Chapter you get Nibbler is 5. That's also pretty hard. Because you don't really get that much of an opportunity to grow before that, so you kind of work with what you have. All right. I should have started Rask on an ambush trench. See, I don't know if you guys have this is this live? We have ambush tiles in the final chapter. It's these. They appear to be a little bit lower in altitude than the other. It's called an ambush trench. So I should have started Raskuja in. Well, whatever. Chapter 9 is definitely the hardest in my opinion. Chapter 10 boss with a doubled guardian units is now pretty tough too. Yeah. Chapter 9 is hard, yeah. I would say Chapter 9 is... So the hardest thing is to just get How, the achievement How. And then the second hardest thing I think is to get the challenge mission in Chapter 26. 10 turn, just beat it in 10 turns. That's hard. And this is all in Warlord, obviously. And then Chapter 9, just beating Chapter 9, especially getting the Chapter 9 challenge mission is really hard. You know, there's other things like killing Beatrix. It's not a big deal. Hang on, let me... Chapter 5 is challenging. Maya says Chapter 5 is challenging just because that boss unit is stacked for what you have to fight with. Yeah. The champion. Yeah, he's pretty strong. Dirk. He can kill Diana. That's crazy, you know. Just because he's a champion. To double attack. Dirk the Jerk. That's right. Sorry, just answering a couple of messages here. Chill Saber says, I've been playing around with units to help versus the new buff champions and Svais, and I found crossbows mixed units. Yeah, crossbows are really strong against heavies. Underutilized, I think. Okay, I haven't read any patch notes. Let's just do that. Let's do like one category of patch notes, then I'll do a turn in the game. Okay. So, a new powerful artifact has arrived in Tundra, the Skull of Verdain. It locks your squad at fearful morale, but I think like everyone here is in the beta team. If anyone here is not in the beta team and wants to be, let me know. Stuns from Sirens can do the trick too. Yeah. Myas is... I remember reading somewhere someone was like, mass crossbow easy mode. I never tried it though. Maya's not. Yeah, if you want to be... It's a double-edged sword. You get early access to everything, but then I ping you for every update that I put in the beta. So, if that doesn't bother you, just send me a DM in Steam, and I can invite you to the beta branch. You know, there is kind of an expectation. Like, I actually have kicked out some people from the beta branch if I haven't heard from them in a really long time. I want to keep the beta team to like people I actually know are reliably kind of helping us out with testing. Otherwise, it's just people getting, because patrons, I think there's like a $10 tier or $25 tier. You always get early access if you want it. So I don't want to give that out for free if you're not a patron and you're not helping us out with beta testing. So I'll filter you out if I just see inactivity for a long time. But, unless like you tell me like, hey, I'm out of town, or hey, I just need a break for like a month, or like, fine, I totally, just let me know. Just let me know your intentions and your like, hey, just don't kick me out of the beta branch like for a month, please. I just need a break. But it's not like we make you do much. It's just like, here's an early build. Do whatever you want with it. Report bugs. So it's pretty chill. Because Chill Saber's in it. I know, Milo. Just bear with me. Maya says, probably not now. I have a lot of birthday gift games to work through and want to be helpful if I accept, Yeah, fair. Let me know. I'm a few hours away from 6.9 hours of game time. I get it. All right. So the artifact locks your squad at fearful. How Beatrix, like a lot of people ask, how does Beatrix interact with that? Just as a unit, Beatrix ignores the effects of morale. So... I don't know how it interacts with Boots of Tyranny. And if Mithrin's in the channel, if he might be able to help us out there. I don't know if it if the artifact locks you at fearful, or it just caps you at fearful. Like you can't go any higher than fearful. I think considering how powerful the artifact is, it's useless for chapter 30, by the way, because you don't have any, like, there's no opportunity to spend. Wow, that's quite good. So there's no downside to Skull of Rodan plus Boots of Tyranny. You're just locked at fearful. Chill Saber says, always use Syncreto, Boots of Tyranny, and something like Sirens or Galleon, Beatrix. Yeah, that's pretty OP. Beatrix the Syncreto is the Lich Princess of this game. Pretty OP. And now, there are some squads that I guarantee this is going to be a point of confusion, but I don't know if there's any way to avoid it. There's some units that cannot surrender, will refuse to surrender. You can see that indicated by the fact that they are either in the final chapter or they're marked as fearless morale. Those units will still just die instead of surrender. So there's that. successfully executing 33 ambush attacks. So it's a jump scare, just a Halloween thing. You will see your progress meter on the right side here. Continue to progress. There's a pity for that. After you beat chapter 27, it's sped up significantly. And then for chapter 30, it's like almost a gimme. You can just hop into the arena. That's just in case there's post-game content that you wanted to use it on, or New Game Plus. I'm making any promises there that you want to use it on. But it is useless for chapter 30, so just whatever, right? That's just so you can use your chapter 30 save and still participate in the event. But I don't even think it's really that important, honestly, to do that. Like, it's important if you have a new save for sure. And it'll still be an item. It'll still be in the game after the event is done. So the event just gives you an easy way to get it. Yeah, the swamp map early on would be good to farm that on. Yeah, for sure. There's that one. Heck, you could you could cheese it really easily and use chapter 4. Where Stefan can just sit in the shadows and just keep ambushing those units. You can do that. I don't really care how. It's kind of meant to be easy for you to get. It's no big deal. Chapter 9 has a lot of... Yeah, Chapter 9's East Side Forest has a lot of opportunity for ambushing. Chapter 10, not as much. 11, not as much. 12 has a lot of opportunities for ambushing, especially on that left entrance. And then the town tiles inside the base. You can do a lot of ambushing in Chapter 14 with all those shadow tiles. 15, not really. 16, not really. 17, yeah. 17's another shadow map, so you can do that. It should be that hard. Otherwise there's the arena. Like, the bronze arena has that big patch of forest. No big deal. Only 33 you need to do, and it stacks up pretty quick. Yeah, the last gate and side quest, yeah, you'll get that like in no time. Alright, let's just kill some guys here. I'm not going to be using good tactics, just so you know. I'm just going to kind of see how it goes. Right. Don't know why I'm ambushing. Doesn't matter. Let's charge in, eh? Victory for Embor. Kaboom! Wow. Holy shit. What? Overtuned much? Oh my god. Alright. I think... Because this is not a pushover unit. This is, they got Boots of Tyranny, Imperial War. But okay, so they don't have, like, super powerful artifacts on. But... that's... Alright. Okay, fine. Overtuned. Alright, let's do... I am doing an aggressive attack, so... This squad is super OP. This will kill anything ever. Yeah. Yeah, okay, bye. Alright, fine. Rescue, yeah, well, and he can't ambush anyway, because he didn't start. Why am I surrendering? Alright. Let's just do... Orgabi is gonna go in, and, probably... One bow attack from Narima, that's fun. Alright. What's her threat? 44,000. Oh, actually, yeah, because there's Zealous in there. Well, that sucks. Alright. Actually, it's Diana's unit that's gonna soak up all the attacks, so let's just kill these guys off. Should be easy. I just think... I don't know why, but firearms in the hands of a player unit suck. They just do. Why, guys? We will always find a way. But when in the hands of the enemy, boy, are they just strong. I think that's just confirmation bias because they're good at killing units, but not necessarily good at winning wars. You know, so like that's like the player's version of losing is losing units, right? Yeah. I mean, Yaramir's squad just got completely jacked up. Oh boy. Let's just do this. Probably not enough weapon scaling stuff to add a lot of other scat scaling stuff, yeah. Shock and awe tomes were a nice first step, yeah. Oh boy. I think firearms are better in small quantity. Large mass tends to overkill targets. Ugh. What? What? Ouch. Deleted. Straight up deleted. Oh, I turned off player stuff. I turned off player battles. All right. Holy shit! How did I lose units? Oh my god. Is my army just not very good? Or is this chapter way overtuned now? Alright, okay, time to read more stuff in the patch notes. Alright. If you're just lurking, please give us a follow. Speak up. Say hi. Graphics. You can now freely change between Diana's Titan and Exemplar graphics when Titan becomes available. So you can be big or small, whatever you want. General Regavi now has a unique sprite for his Swordmaster class. Yaramir now has a unique sprite for his Knight class. And in minor, there's some other map fixes that we made. You now have the option to turn off battles for enemy phase or all battles. Milo doesn't want the option to shrink. It's fine. Alright. Guys, I think I'm going to scale back the weapon power. That's insane. I didn't even bump it that much. Alright. Alrighty. Anti-firearm stuff, yeah. I can't believe it. How did I lose that? Damn. I must have gotten like a crazy... Yeah, there was a whole shitload of gunners and cannons in this spawn. And look how conveniently placed that claw swipe is. Dang. Alright, I didn't plan this out very well. No, let's not do that. Alright, kill him. No problem. Okay, Regaiva's gonna go in and... You know, I didn't plan her sprite or her squad very well either, because I want her to be attacked because of Soul of Siena, which is an awesome new trait, but she won't be because of all the threat generated by Captain Dickhead here. So, yep. Jesus. Captain Phallic Forehead? Phallic Forehead? What do you mean? Oh, you can't even see his forehead in that sprite. Okay. Let's just do this. Oh, okay. Okay, right. Quick on the uptake here. Jeez, man. If you pump weapon power, it just spirals out of control. It's insane. Alright, to be sensing prey. I mean, if I pump weapon power, like if the game does, you know? Otherwise, it's pretty static. It's just based on what class you are. It's supposed to be that way, by the way. It's supposed to be very predictable. Also, I'm not really thinking about my moves here, guys. I'm sure I'm making very, very many mistakes. Very many mistakes. My units have a lot of class. I get it. I got that one. I got that one. Boom. All right. I'm just going to start over because I think I way overtuned the weapon power on this. Alright, let's read more. Added a special dialogue if you clear all enemy units in Chapter 12. Yep, it's just a one-sentence thing explaining why, if you actually win that, it's explaining why the story still makes you lose. You don't lose it, though. Gameplay-wise, you win it. It's almost impossible to lose gameplay-wise. Decreased the amount of mana contribution to blessing from damage dealt. So, you know, we looked at like how quick you were accumulating special powers. And teleport was too slow. So as you can see, we increased teleport by like 50%. And because teleport is fun, really fun to use. But blessing was like every turn you would get 1, maybe 2 blessings. It was crazy. So we just lowered the amount of contribution to blessing from damage dealt. You still get the same contribution to meteor from damage, so you still get that like every turn, but it's not nearly as impactful. So not every power is supposed to be homogenized. Like, you know, you're supposed to get them at different intervals. And they're supposed to have different levels of impact. Like, it's fine if you have, like, a low-impact, high-frequency power. All right? Which will be important for future installments when powers become a thing from day one. You know what I mean? They don't have to be god powers. They can just be army powers that you use right away, you know? Slower blessing will sideswipe the figurine blessing save scumming, too. I would like to sideswipe that by getting rid of the scum thing. I would like to have no new seed on quick save reload. But it is what it is. I don't think there's any precedent to have quick save reload mid-mission new seed on any circumstance, on any difficulty level. That's silly. That's super silly. I mean, I think it's silly on a larger scale, like reloading markets, but you know, it's a longer term save scum. It requires a little bit more commitment. Okay, new artifacts. The Skull of Verdain, of course. Also, the Donar's Treatise of War now gives CP, so instead of just XP. So instead of being useless, it's insanely good. Use it if you have it. Strength, magic, and skill consumables increased in price. HP consumable decreased in price. We already have that up in the beta. Shield Saber says, I've seen people using Landis Fixed Dice and Treasure Hunter for maximum items. Stone Ice Treatise is pretty nice. Probably too nice for its capacity cost. Yeah, it's pretty good. Traits. The main character unit now has 2 learnable trait slots. Awesome. I love that trait, or I love that change. Garrison has been changed. Now grants an extra 25% effectiveness from all terrain bonuses. Mithrin, please let us know. That does not affect evasion, right? That only affects damage reduction, right? So, like, if you're on high ground and the other people aren't, does not affect evasion. That would be so OP though if it did. I just need to update this tooltip here, and I think we need to update the tooltip in the game as well, because I think it should specify that it does not in fact. Where is it? Garrison. What does it say? It says protection granted from terrains is increased by 50%. I think I'm gonna let's do damage reduction granted from terrains is increased by 15% rather than protection, because protection is not a official game term, and it could also apply to evasion. Yeah, it would be busted if it did. Like, if you had a bunch of rangers in the woods with Garrison, like, you would just dodge everything. It's insane. It does not boost guerrilla. He confirmed, but it does boost defensive terrain, like woods. Yeah. So, sync, damage reduction, line 1580, or 1581. And then I'll update that in the Steam thread here. Garrison damage reduction effectiveness from terrain bonuses. Okay, let's keep going on traits. New trait, Soul of Siuna. Sword Masters, Sword Fighters, and Blade Masters, aka Narima, will always attack first when on defense, maximum 2 times per phase, at 1 range only. So it doesn't affect the 2 range Blade Master attack. Unique to General Ragavi. So it is right now not learnable. It's a unique, completely character-based trait for General Ragavi, who is given to you after you beat Chapter 24. That's so good. It's without having to have a temporal modulator. You have, instead of 3, you have 2, and it only applies to those units, but it's still so good. And it also applies to it only applies to your melee attack. So, whereas temporal modulator is still the most insanely OP item ever, and applies to all units 3 times. I've been trying to use Garrison, but it's hard to know how efficient it is versus other defensive traits. But how often do I even use walls, though? A lot. You don't use walls? You should be using walls. Let's see. We have... how many chapters have walls that you can use instead of just conquer? You can use Chapter 3's walls. You can use Chapter 9's walls for sure. Chapter 9's walls. For Chapter 10, you can use those walls. Chapter 11, you can not really use those walls. 12, obviously you can use those walls. There's a lot of them. Let's see. 15, no. 16, no. 17, no. 18, not really. Kinda. 19, yes, absolutely 19 in a huge way. 20A, 20B, 20C, no. 20D, no. 21, not really. 22, no. 23, no. 24, yes, hugely yes. 25, yes. Yes. 26, huge yes. 26, yes. 27, kinda, but not really. 28, 29, 30. 30, yes. Yes. How often do you use those walls? I don't know. Maybe you should use them more. 19, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, 19 is a very defensive chapter in some sense. But there's a few chapters that they're like insanely impactful. But it also applies to hills and woods. So, and to forts and bases and. All right, let's keep reading. Yeah, so Soul of Sand is awesome. You know, if you just stack a whole bunch of sword girls in Ragavi's squad, then they'll just murder. Tundra Warrior now grants immunity to Chill. So sorry, Chill Saber, you have been nullified by Tundra Warrior. By Yaramir. Tundra Warrior is also it's also learnable by traits, trait books now. So is Desert Warrior. You are now able to find or buy trait books to learn Shock and Awe. Ooh, I need to update that. Shock and Awe and Tundra Warrior and Desert Warrior. Tundra Warrior, Desert Warrior. Okay. Sorry about my allergies here. Classes. Zweihander and Champion now have the Guardian trait, which is crazy good. Sentinel now has 5 additional armor. Siege Cannon decreased damage by about 10%. Doesn't seem to make a big difference, honestly. Beatrix mag modifier decreased, also not a huge deal. Hand of Zin's Dragon Rider significantly reduced damage. Samurai gives significant evasion boost, which now is reflected in the tooltips. Next thing is the Diana Stefan bond never expires, which is like obvious. And that's it for the patch notes. Roadmap is like, maybe the roadmap is outdated in here. Let's see. New game mode, post game extra difficult final boss, and or some form of new game plus. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. Like it's not fitting into our plans at the moment to get new game plus out quickly. I think count on all these new game modes to drop at the same time as the Legends DLC does. Sometime next year early, I hope. Yeah, endurance / new game plus / extra hard final boss / whatever mode, right? Additional artifacts, that's kind of an ongoing thing, but additional artifacts is the Skull of Rodain, but that's not going to happen until the Legends DLC. Then you'll have a whole bunch of additional artifacts. Oh, I forgot about, yeah, thanks. New cell menu, artifact organization. Yep, okay, yep. Forgot about that. Let's get that in the notes. Okay, let's see. UX, UI. Artifacts now listed in by rarity and ascending order. Yep. We fixed around some prices too. Can we get some strength and skill artifacts? There's so many. There's already I think we need more. I mean, yeah, we can always do more artifacts of every kind, really. I think there's already a lot of strength and skill artifacts. Not skill artifacts so much, but tons of strength ones. I think we need... yeah, I didn't get free sources on there. Shit. Okay, I really need to update this thread. Oh, strength and skill artifacts. Chill. Just... You're fine. You've been very helpful, by the way, Chill. Chill Saber has been like absolutely killing it on the beta, just super active, and we appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay, artifacts never slip a rarity. You can now sell items in the shop. Items now, or items with multiples now stack and can be sold en masse. We have, okay, general changes. I gotta actually change the order on that one. Let's see. Prices for conscripts and mercenaries have been, quote, normalized. You will see fewer extreme cases, and prices will make more sense based on the power / traits / resources the unit, well, I don't want to say that, the unit comes with, and the value of the resources of the unit's starting class. Okay. Okay. All right. By the way, here's the thread we're talking about if you want to follow along. And let's see. Okay, how do I describe free source? Okay, where should it go? Yeah, let's go in general. Man, this is, if y'all are here, just give Mithrin like a big old hand of applause. A lot of stuff has been updated and added in a very short time for this patch, so very pleased. Maya has a question. All right. Ask away, my son. Anyone here familiar with Girl Chain in Paradise? Old Ego Raptor cartoon? I've been having quotes from that in my head. Just obnoxiously can't get out of my head. I know, it's so old. Is your intention to build this sort of game to where you can work on min-maxing your squads, or is this supposed to be a one-and-done game and you're just sort of being pushed to add more post-game? Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's hard to answer simply. Let me actually finish this real quick note on the patch thread here, and then let's talk about it. While I'm doing the patch thread, you know, speak up. Like, what would you like it to be? Not that that'll change anything, but what do you feel it should be? What do you think, based on your interpretation of the design that we've come up with? All right. Okay, the way conscripts and mercenaries interact with resources has changed significantly. and I misspelled significantly. Rather than having a free phantom resource for the starting class only, now newly recruited or newly purchased units that start as a class which costs resources will now, quote, carry those resources throughout all class changes. Save. Could I be a lawyer? I mean, that's pretty full. That's like, you can't misinterpret that. Like, that's like bulletproof, boilerplate legalese right there. Just saying. The way conscripts and mercenaries interact with resources has changed significantly. Rather than being a free phantom resource for the starting class only, now newly purchased units that start. I know. I'm bullshitting. There's got to be holes in there somewhere. Rather than a free phantom, I think that tells the story good enough for now. Newly purchased units that start as a class which costs resources will now carry those resources throughout all class changes. Come on. That's pretty clear. Chillsaber's opinion is there's a lot of opportunity to min-max. Most people running through usually go about as best as they can, and then they poulet? What does poulet mean? Play? A second run through with better knowledge and compositions. Yeah. Maya Magic says, Five fingers. I enjoy both, but the current version of the game feels like it was designed that it ends and you had a complete experience. Yeah, really. That's really what it is. I love games with post-game ungrinding and things to work towards, like Apotheosis and Effie Awakening, for example. But I was just curious because it seems hard to turn one to another from my side of things. I could be wrong. No, you're actually right on, Maya. I think that's pretty close to... So I don't know if you were here last Sunday, but we had a pretty extensive conversation about what I called... You can call it whatever you want, but I just called it abundance players versus scarcity players, or abundance gameplay versus scarcity gameplay. And, what is abundance gameplay, or what is an example? It's, what are some games that have that, where it's just like endless, infinite, imminent flexibility? That would be like more 4X, or like straight up, like, real-time strategy, or like Disgaea, which is an RPG but has that kind of like as part of that's the Disgaea's secret sauce, is the infinite grind, right? The Symphony of War secret sauce is so not that, I think. It definitely leans hard into the scarcity gameplay side of things, and because we're not against, I am a scarcity player, but I'm not against having the abundance player mechanics in the game. There's a lot in there actually already. The tech tree is fully completable. That's an abundance thing, I think. If it was not fully completable at max tech points and not refundable, that would be an extreme scarcity gameplay design principle. You know what I mean? Now, if the tech tree was not completable, but if it was imminently flexible and that you can respec your tech points for free at any point, that's an abundance gameplay principle. So, and I think that actually will be the case for the sequel, is that is a not completable tech tree with a lot more, specialization that you can get into, but you can freely respec it. Not whenever, but just during whole base sequences. you also have what are some other things that are abundance in Symphony of War? Your resources are all allocated instead of consumed. That's an abundance principle, because like think about Heroes of Might and Magic. Your resources are definitely not allocated. They're always consumed, right? Every resource you spent is generated every turn or found by the objectives that you hold and spent on troops. Usually spent on troops, very rarely on other things. So I think your question, it's a really good question. Boy, how do I get more? It's great. You guys are awesome. How do I get more awesome people in here? Because we have great conversations. I'm not a Twitch streamer. I'm not a content creator. I'm a game designer. You know what I mean? So how do I get more people in here? Anyway, I guess didn't we already do that? So whatever. It's fine. Because I think we end up talking about really good game design stuff in here, that may not even have anything to do with what we're working on. It's just like general game design stuff in the world of video games, right? Yeah, I know, Milo. I think I want to save those for not the routine Sunday streams, but like a special launch stream. Like I'll probably do a 1.3. 1.3 is going to launch on November 1st. Hopefully on November 1st. So we have to have the event up on Steam on the 25th. So this patch will be live tomorrow sometime. That's a Steam thing. It's like an unavoidable Gabe has spoken sort of thing. But on the 1st, we want the event to end, but that doesn't have to be. That's whatever we decide is the event ends. So it hopefully would be on the 1st, but anyway. So I think I'll do a 1.3 special stream and maybe not do a Sunday stream before that. And then I can do an mention. So anyway, what the hell are we talking about? It would help if I don't have dementia and I forget what we're talking about. Who am I? What game is this? Yeah. So I think, let's continue to have this conversation because it's like the most important. Yeah, I'm not that. I'm getting there. I'm getting to that scary number that most people associate with middle age. So, and of course, Mithra and I have to hash this stuff out. But I think right now, my instinct is based on how this game has been created, how it's so many people have downloaded it, bought it. It's out there in the world. So there's a precedent that's been set, right? So, in order to continue to develop it in a way that's loyal to the established precedent, we'll have to figure that out. How do we do that? And I think that the campaign mode that currently is the entire gameplay of Symphony of War 1 is very scarcity based. Because it's you can't repeat missions. You can't really grind. You can do arena grinding if you want to. And in fact, there's so many tokens, and there's an arena token exchange that you can grind arena so much that you're sick of arena. Why would you want to do more than, you know what I mean? It's not there to just endlessly. I don't know. I guess it is, but whatever. I'm babbling about arena. So the campaign mode is, I think, inevitably scarcity based. It's for the most part, do the best you can with what you're given at the time, which is important because this is not only an RPG, but it is a strategy game. Strategy, puzzles. So, in essence, if you are stuck with what you have, of course, we've given so many opportunities to get more shit, right? But if you're stuck with what you have, it is a puzzle. If it's not that, then it just becomes a grind. It just becomes a numbers booster, right? Then it's not a scarcity thing at all, and it's just a do more grindy shit, and then you can just power your way through everything. And some people love that. I get it. I completely get it. That is why I think, for now, we will do the best we can to satisfy both modes of play. As Mithrin said, post-game mode and new game modes, yes, absolutely. Eventually, when we get them done, when we get them right, we're not going to just slap it in there just because to have a new game mode. No, we're going to make sure it's as elegant as the current campaign. And we're, you know what I mean? Like, we're kind of like the soup Nazi. We have very high expectations for ourselves as far as what is an acceptable thing to release to the public, no post-game mode for you yet, right? So just understand that, right? I think in the future, and oh my God, I hope we can do this, is to develop a parallel game mode that is entirely inspired by Heroes of Might and Magic, that caters to the abundance player entirely, which I find that way, I love Heroes of Might and Magic, right? Oh boy. The difficult part is that grinding actively presses against the scarcity factors. Unless it isn't extrinsically rewarded, then it doesn't really satisfy the players that want to grind and alleviate scarcity. Yeah. It's a grind fest, but also slanted against you. Yeah, I mean, what Mithrin is saying is it's entirely right and accurate, and if I could boil it down a little bit to my language, if you put endless grinding in, it trivializes a lot of other really fun things that we put in. It is fun to lack things. It's fun to have to seek out things. It's fun to know that there's more goals to work toward in the future. There's more tiers to get to. There's more resources to get to. There's more technology to unlock, right? I think the game gets way less fun when you've maxed out. Then you're just like slaughtering everything, right? You're using it's maybe fun for like one map to just get maxed out and then use your maxed out shit, and then it stops being fun. For me, I mean, it's still fun, but not nearly as fun as when Symphony of War offers you goals to work toward, right? Mithrin says, what I don't want to do for any grinding that we ever make is for it to be all about grinding to make your numbers bigger. Yeah, that's the biggest problem with putting grinding in the campaign. Does that make sense? So if it's separate from the campaign, or if you were to take your campaign army, for example, and remove it from the campaign and put it in some other game mode, or if there were to be an all completely new game mode that works just like Heroes of Might and Magic, that is a parallel game mode that's separate, totally separate from the campaign, then that I think is the best solution. That way, the story mode, we can remove all of the abundance design principles from the campaign and make it even more scarce. Like it's truly a puzzle. You truly have to rely on your brains and your skills and your knowledge to get through that campaign mode. And then we take all of the grinding and all of the abundance and put it in the other mode. Excuse me. And then that becomes like the dopamine grind, just get bigger forever, that sort of thing, right? So I think that's the best long-term solution. But obviously we haven't even created that alternative game mode, and I hope we can. And I hope that when we do, it's just as fun as the story mode is. So Chill Saber says, no matter how much you grind, there's still a cap. You can make infinite T3 units without the resources, but yeah, but you see, you're kind of missing the point here. If there's a cap, then that very much trivializes even the cap, because it's like an arbitrary, you should get to the cap every single time. Does that make sense? The cap is there just so that you can follow along with the growth of the enemy. You know what I mean? So we don't want you to feel like the gameplay is grind to the cap economically and power-wise every single time, because if you can, you will. Does that make sense? You reach it naturally by going through the storyline. There's a big difference between that and grinding it before you do the story. Because you'll just trivialize the story, right? The campaign mode. Anyway. So yeah, we'll have to figure out like when, because I honestly think, guys, endurance mode is cool, New Game Plus is cool, whatever. It sucks compared to potential Heroes of Might and Magic game mode. That would be so much cooler, way cooler than New Game Plus and endurance mode. Like, not even close, guys. So I think, if for the few folks that are in here, just I guess understand that's a possibility for the future of this franchise, is that game mode. I think that game mode could open up so many new players who don't even like RPGs or don't even like Symphony of War as it is now. The Heroes of Might and Magic game mode offers an entirely different dimension. It would become a lot more like a 4X game, like a Civilization or HOM 3 or whatever, because you would have, like, for example, you would start with a castle. Every turn that castle would generate gold, and you might actually have population that grows, so that affects how much gold something generates per turn. You would probably have resources be consumed instead of allocated. If that to make it make sense, you would probably have to do it that way. You have a gem mine, but instead of giving you 3 one time, it would give you 1 per turn forever. When you're, and you could even have like tech trees where, like, well, guess what? Now your gems generate 2 per turn, right? So there's so many possibilities there. That would be the best game ever. Oh man, I wish we could replicate Mithrin like 10 times so we can just like instantly create that system. It would be so fun, guys. Because then you use the Symphony of War squad building system and army building system in the Heroes of Might and Magic economy system. Oh god, that'd be so cool. Lee says, you're gonna make a practice mode so everyone can create their team and try out their squads. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I don't know how that would work, but that's a cool idea. I like it. Like a little barracks arena mode that you can just pop into in the home base, and not necessarily grind, but you can just create a squad and throw it up against a dummy. I think that'd be cool. And that's something that can entirely fit inside the campaign mode, without messing with the design at all. It would be a welcome addition with no drawbacks except for the time it takes to create it. I imagine customer-made maps and scenarios with creation tools, not how. Yeah, we would love that too. But what do you do? Do you just that's it. You would have to have some sort of RPG Maker co-op, hybrid software. I have no idea how that would work. We obviously didn't create RPG Maker, so we would probably have to find who did. And I know who did. I know who they are, and I talk to them sometimes. But how would that even work? I have no idea. It would probably have to be entirely their doing,
Or we would have to not use RPG Maker. So. Yep, time for Unreal Engine. Yeah, I hear ya. Eyebrows, eyebrows, eyebrows. Yep. Yep, I gotcha. Nudge, nudge. Shit, I didn't record this. I forgot to record this. Can you download videos from Twitch and put them on YouTube and as a VOD? Help me out here, content creators. Anyway, and now here's another thing about the Heroes of Might and Magic style mode. Let's just call it the abundance mode for now. Here's another thing about abundance mode: factions. Factions, guys. So, oh, you export to YouTube and dashboard. Great. Factions. So, like, just like in Heroes of Might and Magic, you have different factions. It would be the same thing here. You know, that would be freaking awesome, guys. Twitch. I do have Twitch setting for that now. Okay, cool. Last thing, God. So not game design related, I guess, kinda, but I want to see if you guys feel the same way I do about this is a pop culture media sort of subject, and I don't want to go past 3:30 here. What do you guys think about this? I am like utterly exhausted by remakes and I know I brought this up before, but like I feel like I have a unique take on it today because I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 80s cartoon with my daughter. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool because I was a little tiny kid when this first came out and I was watching them on Saturday morning cartoons and like, you know, I remember like, oh, what about Rugrats and Doug and Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead and all that stuff, or like, you know, Final Fantasy VI Remake, or Final Fantasy, you know, like, I'm at the point now, guys, where remakes and rehashes and pulls on my nostalgia are literally depressing. Like, it's beyond boredom. It's beyond like, oh, another remake. It's beyond that now for me. It is demoralizing and depressing. Like, straight up depressing. Does it really feel new for younger crowds? I have a couple of younger relatives of mine who tell me about, like, and they're teenagers, and they tell me about like what they're listening to, what they're watching, what they're playing, whatever, right? They tell me about their experience with pop culture and media. And I'm like, what? That's the stuff that I was doing when I was a teenager, like 20 years ago. And they're like, yeah. And they're well aware this is all rehashes. They're well aware this is all rehashes and reusing stuff and recycling. They're not fooled by this stuff. They know it's not new. And you know, the amount of well done remakes that I can remember off the top of my head is like Top Gun Maverick. And that's like it. That's like it, guys. I don't enjoy, like, because that was like not even really a remake. That was just reusing old actors, you know. And yeah, yeah, you're right, Milo. It was just a sequel. It was not a remake. You're right. So that doesn't even count. By the way, awesome ass movie. It irritates me. It feels like they're resting on the laurels of the people who made the risks and we're stuck with it because currency, creativity. Yeah, totally. The She-Ra's. I never watched the new She-Ra. Is that the one? Is that the new He-Man, or is that an actual She-Ra cartoon? I really wasn't much of a He-Man Master of the Universe lore kid. I think that was a little bit before my time, actually. My older brother was into that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that what set me off was the Star Wars sequels. God, they suck so bad, guys. Ugh. We've talked about that already. I don't want to rehash that, but they are like an attempt. They're so flagrant. They're like, remember this? Hey, Star Wars fans, look at this. We got you this. And it's like, ugh, fuck off. Seriously. We can spend hours just bashing these sequels. Yes, we could. I don't know. It's like, and I have a couple of friends who are playing the Diablo 4 beta, and I love Diablo 1 and 2, right? 3 is okay. I never even played the mobile game, but I'm hearing from friends. It's like Diablo 4. It feels like they're telling me like it's a good game, and I guess they're under NDA, so I obviously won't tell you who they are. They're just like, it's a good game. It's it's obviously well designed, but it still feels like it's just the same thing. It's like, there's Diablo. Here you go, kids. There's some Diablo for you, and it almost feels like it's that. I want like a nerdy, suffering artist who's locked away in a room and is like, I have to create Diablo 4, and it has to be my magnum opus, right? I don't want a bunch of corporate suits in a focus group saying, Diablo fans want this and this and this, right? Because it just feels so stale and so uninspired, and I like Diablo 2. I liked Diablo 2 15 years ago, and nostalgic, wouldn't replay it. The remaster is actually kind of okay. It's pretty decent. But they don't have the team that made Diablo 2 in the first place. That team is long gone. I actually unironically think that if the people who work at Blizzard Entertainment would not try and recreate Diablo and just create a new action RPG series, it would be way better than Diablo 4, honestly. The recent DuckTales reboot I thought was well done. DuckTales. Never even heard of that reboot. Milo Zilla says, people like the safety of it. Why try something you're guaranteed to get Diablo? Yeah, that's the other side. Is people are going to buy Diablo because of Diablo, right? The senior devs quit and made new studios. We should get their games in a few years. Hopefully it turns out good. That's another thing that's depressing, is that has happened before, and it ends up sucking. Why does it suck? Like I can't even remember examples, but I think it was Blizzard, the guys who worked on World of Warcraft. They tried to create an MMO. Isn't that? God, I'm sorry, guys, I don't remember, but I swear it was it Torchlight? Yeah. And I think some of the people who created World of Warcraft vanilla, like I'm talking ancient vanilla, original classic WoW, which I think we can all agree is a masterpiece for its time, an absolute masterpiece, legendary. So you would think that those devs would be like, okay, those devs are geniuses, right? I think they just had a lightning in a bottle moment back in 2006, 2007, when World of Warcraft came out. But Torchlight compared to the original Diablo, I mean, how does you, for people like me who may have experienced the original Diablo way back in when it was actually new, did you get the same feeling at all? Even close? I didn't. It wasn't even close. And same with Diablo 2. Not even close. Not even close. When I first experienced Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, magical masterpiece, right? Torchlight was fine. It wasn't the greatest, but I had a good time playing it. I think it just had marketing behind it. I still insist Dark Age of Camelot was better. Never played it. Even then, but was just not the commercial juggernaut Blizzard was by then. Yeah, you cannot create those games nowadays. I think people were taking risks. Those games were made by a bunch of gamers in their garages, basements. Dude, that's how it's done, man. That's how Symphony of War was made. A couple of nerdy gamers in just, our home working, you know. New Diablo was a new concept, though. What were ARPGs at the time? I don't know. I mean, Diablo created a genre. Yeah, everything that's an ARPG is called a Diablo clone because that's what our Diablo did, right? So anyway, off the beaten path here, but yeah, like just it's actually depressing, guys. I'm just like, hey, who is in charge of media? Like, why are all these people just so soulless? Like, why can't we get that starving artist garage band sort of, like, yeah, Disney. Yeah, Disney and Amazon, and God, they all suck so bad. It's just this corporate soulless bullshit. Yeah, Mithrin is like an encyclopedia of media. I am not like I'm a short-term memory lost kind of guy. All the innovations Guild Wars 2 has. Guild Wars 2 I think is legit the best MMO in many ways. It's such a good game. It's really, really well done. The combat is not as snappy and fluid as Black Desert. The graphics are not as crazy. The graphics are good. The combat is good. It's just other games do things somewhat better. Like the lore is not as accessible, I think, to a mass audience as WoW's is, for example. I think the story is not as... you can't beat the story and writing and the music from Final Fantasy XIV, but all of those things in Guild Wars 2 are actually like pretty good, and the fact that the business model of Guild Wars 2 is so player friendly. Like the business model of Black Desert, Lost Ark are extremely bad, very predatory. They're like gacha game bad, right? Those games would be way better without that shit. But Guild Wars 2 has a really player friendly business model and monetization. Because for every starving artist that creates greatness, so many others fail. Yeah. I remember having to make DOS boot disks to play games on PCs. Masters of Magic. Oh, Masters of Magic! It's a goodie. Civilization 1. Whew. Good old games, yeah. A lot of those have goodoldgames.com ports on. Yeah, so... Yeah, I guess we can call it the Disneyfication or the Amazonification of games. It sucks. It's good for me and Mithrin because, we're never going to be that. We're never going to be that. Amazon could come along and want to buy Symphony of War, and I would give them the middle finger, right? Because this is like a reason to get up in the morning. It's like such an awesome thing to be able to do. And we're always going to be the garage band, indie, kind of nerdy, starving artist type. And we're always going to be that, right? So it's good for us that we can kind of fill that gap. Yeah, Milo. We can kind of fill that gap left by the soulless suits, in Activision, Amazon, Disney. It's just a shame that all those companies now are directly responsible for creating so many of us. They created all of us fans and young dreamers and older dreamers who still remember their dreams from their childhood. And now they're paid Shadow Legends. Yeah, Milo. I don't see any circumstance in which we go dark side. There's no way, man. Realistically. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Who's here right now? if you haven't followed us, please do. We do this every Sunday, usually. Well, Milo says, to be clear, great games and movies still exist. You just got to look for them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll walk it back a little bit. That's totally true. There's good stuff happening. It's just there's so much stuff that a lot of times it gets drowned out by the corporate shit, That's not all doom and gloom. Sounds a great example of that. Yeah, that's a good take on it. It's a good take. Like if you only focus on the shitty remakes that try and pull on your heartstrings constantly to get your money, it can be very soul. It's so soul draining to do that. It's so depressing to do that. But I guess just focus on indie games and actually new stuff. Like I'm actually looking at Riot Games is developing an MMO, which probably won't be done for like 5 years, but that's new, right? I mean, Riot doesn't make new stuff; they just perfect stuff that exists. But boy, did they do it well, right? There's a lot of stuff that's new, that can be experienced and enjoyed. Real games. Anyway, yeah, if you're here and you haven't given us a follow, please do. If you haven't thumbs up the game on Steam, please do. If you're not in the beta team and you want to be, let me know. I think probably next Sunday we're not going to do, because that's the 30th. I think what we're going to do is a launch stream on the 1st of November, because that'll be a 1.3 launch stream if the patch is ready by then. Okie doke. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye. Have a good day.